You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, we're going to preview the Bulls versus the Pistons and whatever version of the Pistons we'll be seeing that day. We'll also talk about Alex Caruso getting out of concussion protocol, and the Bulls got flexed out of a nationally televised game. So we'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. That's Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. Pat, we got a game tonight. Bulls versus Pistons. They'll be down 2 players after a brawl. This really wasn't that, but you know, it is what it is. What's your feeling coming into this game? Because so often with the Bulls, we follow up a good game like we had against the Milwaukee Bucks, in which we showed heart, toughness, all that in the third and fourth quarter specifically of that game. But a team that should be on paper at least an inferior team to us, the Bulls have shown they're susceptible to losing those games. How do you feel about tonight's game, brother?
I don't know. Right. I feel good coming into it, right? Because I feel like the Bulls are kind of aware of the fact that they suck against bad teams. And so maybe they'll try to play up to that, especially with the Pistons being down Killian, the Pistons, you know, like that's a major piece right now, especially with them already missing some of their top guys on the team coming into this game. Right. So I think that it should be a game that the Bulls are able to get and actually able to get pretty well. I would hope that we'd see some time from the Rook in this one. But the problem is I don't know, right? Like the record where the Bulls really look good, we're 7-1 against, and we got to adjust that, by the way. What is it? How many times we play Miami? We beat Miami twice.
Miami? Did we beat Miami twice?
Did we beat them both times?
Yeah, you're right. I think
we beat them both times. Okay, so we're 5-1 against the top teams in the Eastern Conference because they keep throwing 7-1 out there like Miami's a top team. They're the 8th seed. Like it's okay to move off of Miami.
I think they're judging that by teams that are slated to be in the playoffs. I think that's how they're using that.
Sure. Okay. But we're if that's the case, then we're 7-1 against actual playoff teams, right? And that sounds great, but the problem is it hasn't been the playoff teams that have really pulled the carpet from underneath us. And I think that's the part where I want to know kind of right, even in these games, even in these moments, because listen, there's no more of a underestimated team moment than what's coming up now. They're missing Killian. They already are down a couple of players coming into this game. They're struggling to find their way through the season. They're having a struggle part. They're struggling through the season anyway. This is the easiest game that you absolutely can come into and show no heart. And you know what? This is the game that you need to be showing the most heart just based off of the history of it, just based off of the rivalry of it. You need to be coming out time in and time out and being like, hey, listen, we playing Detroit. We finna put that thing on them. Like they finna be down 40 at the half. Just off principle. And the fact that Isaiah Thomas keep coming out with new material every 2 years. He dropped new material. He adds something else to the story to make Mike look much worse, which it doesn't work because it's like, listen, Isaiah.
Nobody cares.
It's not even that. It's like, Isaiah, we need you to understand this. We all know Mike's an a-hole.
Yeah.
Nobody's doubting that.
Like, and I wonder what, like, does anybody really think at this point that there's anything that could come out about Michael Jordan that people are going to be like, oh, I didn't, like, I would not be surprised if Michael Jordan literally smacked somebody's son back in the 80s just for motivation.
Probably did.
It wouldn't surprise me. Like you said, we know Mike is an a-hole. Get over it, Isaiah. Get over it, bro. You had a hell of a career.
Yeah.
Like, let's not get hung up on this, brother.
And listen, and listen, you was an a-hole too. Like, I like you. I think you're the second best point guard in NBA history, in my opinion. I still stand on that. I think Curry's coming for your spot. But at a minimum, you'll always be top 3, in my opinion. But you was a little bit of a, you know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay.
And do you think that any of that, I know this is completely sidetracked from us talking about and previewing the game. Do you think some of that is because he said this before, that it's like you guys love him. I'm the one from Chicago. He's not from here. Do you think there's any of that that MJ gets more love in what Isaiah may look like as his city? Do you think that may play a part into it?
I'm sure that there's a big part of that played into it, and there's a complete sidebar, but that's okay. I'm sure that plays a big part into it, but here's the thing. I don't love Doc Rivers. I don't like, why do you feel like you're supposed to be the one that's special? Like, I don't love Tim Hardaway. I think and I can acknowledge and respect all of their games. I can be like, hey, listen, I love what you've done. You're from the town. Like, I give you that respect. But I like Michael Jordan more than you because my team won with him. If you wanted to feel good in Chicago, you should have came and played for the Chicago
That's a great point. All right, to get back on this game,
man.
Tonight against the Pistons.
He on the screen right now, so they just popped up. Isaiah, what you doing up there?
Cade Cunningham already out, going to be out for an extended period of time. Yep. This, like you said, this is the game that I want to see the Chicago Bulls. I don't overlook the team, but if you want to have an easy night, come out, murder them in the first half, and then by halfway through the third quarter, you can sit down for the rest of the game. You could be a spectator. There's nothing more than I want to see this game than Tony Bradley check into the game. That's it.
Always.
That's when you see Tony Bradley, it's one of two things. We are either waving the white flag or we have the game clearly underhand.
I miss the days when we had a human victory cigar. I miss it so much. I love Scal. Yeah. I loved seeing Scal come into the game. Only time you saw Scal is when the Bulls were killing somebody. Yep. I miss the days of having a human victory cigar. And this is a Tom Thibodeau coach team that literally was like, I'm gonna run y'all to the ground unless y'all destroy these mugs.
Yeah. And then before Scal, it was Aaron Gray there for like a year. You remember that?
No, Aaron Gray was getting serious minutes for a minute.
I still remember this. It was the last game of the season. Joakim Noah's rookie year. Him and Aaron Gray both had, I think, over 20 and 10 in a game, and it was ridiculous.
Hey, bro, it was what's his name? I can't think of it. The Turkish Hammer.
Oh, Amir Sheik.
Amir Sheik, bro. Amir. Yeah. I loved Amir, bro. I remember I was that kid that I just didn't want you to get rid of my players. So I was like, you can't get an Amir Sheik, man. He's a Turkish Hammer.
That game that I talked about, Aaron Gray, he needs to literally go and find the game ball to this and keep that if he didn't get it already. April 16th, 2008 against the Toronto Raptors. 19 points, 22 rebounds, and 2 assists in 35 minutes.
Hey, I'm not going to lie to you. He Locked On Raptors is right. We do be beating them in like some weird ways out there.
That's crazy.
We do be beating the Raptors a lot. But no, I think the guy you got to watch out for the most tonight, right? Because we know, here's the one thing we know about the Bulls. Somebody random is going to kill us.
Kevin Knox
and Bojan. Those are the two guys you got to worry about.
Yeah, Bojan.
And Bojan, listen, Bojan's a baller. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Bojan Bogdanovic gets busy. He's still averaging 20 a game. He's averaging about 3-4 rebounds a game. And the guy that I was actually looking at that probably is going to be the one that we're going to be like, why is he hitting wide open threes in the corner? Alec Burks. Savvy vet, guy that understands his role on the team, realizes he has to play a little bit more of a role here. Keep an eye on those two. I think if the Bulls are able to contain those two, they can come away with a win, but it's all depending on defensively how this team comes out and the heart of this team. But it does look like we're trending in the right direction to get Caruso back.
Yeah. Which is our next topic, which we'll talk about, is the injury report and what's on there. But to come back to this game, though, I do want to say this. You can't allow Jaden Ivey to be the one to go off on you. Just because you can't allow that to happen.
Is Jalen Duren playing much?
No. He's not playing very much.
He might get in this game.
He's been hold on. I may be wrong there. Maybe he has.
Bro, they missed a lot of people, bro.
Oh, no. He's been in the month of December, he's averaging 27 minutes per game.
Shout out to him. Bro, they missed a lot of people. No, Bagley's a game-time decision. Diallo's out with a suspension. Killian's out with a suspension. Cade, of course, with the lower leg. Isaiah Livers is out with a shoulder. Buddy Boeheim is out with he's a game-time decision with the toe. Man, we missing some people too, though. Hold on now. We'll talk about this in the second segment.
Yeah, we'll talk about this.
A lot of
next
game time
segment.
decisions on here. I didn't expect this because I didn't see the injury report today.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. So next up, we're going to be talking about the injury report and who's in or out for the Chicago Bulls in the next game. But first, before we do that, I got to talk to you guys with this message from NHTSA. You're hanging out with some friends and putting back a few drinks, and a few becomes a few too many. As the evening comes to an end and people start to head out, you think of calling for a ride. No, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What are the odds you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that can happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, or you kill someone. Everyone knows about the risk of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting from behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. For your second listen, make sure to check out Locked On Sports Today. The biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes or less, plus instant reaction, game recaps, and Locked On Take It a Day. Locked On Sports Today, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Good stuff there, brother. So let's focus on the Bulls first because this is a Bulls podcast. We'll talk about who the Pistons are missing eventually. But Alex Caruso, he's out of concussion protocol. He looks like he's going to be set to make his return against the Detroit Pistons. Kobe White also questionable there. Derrick Jones Jr. is listed as out, so he's not going to be playing. Javonte Green is also listed as probable. Patrick Williams, surprisingly, is listed as questionable. I didn't even know he got hurt last game.
He's got a collarbone injury, apparently.
That's why. Hey, listen, when Giannis is just putting his shoulder down and running into your body, that's a chance. You know what? Happening.
That actually makes a lot of sense. He's probably ridiculously sore today.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe too, the Bulls look at it as a chance to be like, hey, we are facing the Pistons. They're missing a lot of people. Maybe let's get our guys some rest because they do have a back-to-back. So I would not be surprised if some of the players listed as questionable or probable do not play tomorrow, considering we do not play today, considering we have a back-to-back on Saturday as well.
That would be, I wouldn't be mad at that because you're going up against a Cavaliers team that is a lot tougher in that second of the back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
I think the interesting thing about that is always, right, like you're sitting a lot of these guys probably just for rest reasons, but you're not going to sit Zach. You're not going to sit DeMar. You're not going to sit Vooch, right? Like those would be the guys you would think you would sit in those situations. But I guess, right, like, hey, listen, at a minimum, it feels like we're going to get more Dalen time. Hopefully Dalen can start to show us a little bit more. He's really just been running around out there.
Yeah. Like
he's kind of he's getting his cardio up. He's got his Fitbit going. You know what I mean? He's really just been running around out there. Hasn't done too much. Like, hasn't really. I get why he's been at the G League now, because it feels like he doesn't have a grasp of kind of the system. He looks like he don't know where to be. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more time so he can get a little bit more experience out there. What do you got Javonte as? I still got him over here as a game time decision. Says he's got a kneecap injury. What happened to Javonte? Giannis. Giannis.
It says probable, but he did guard Giannis a lot. So
also
there's a chance with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got a lot of guys.
Put that on the injury report. Giannis.
You got a lot of guys. It's the injury.
guarded Giannis
what was the
night before.
Guarded Giannis yesterday. He's dead. I mean, you got a lot of guys missing, right? That makes it hard. But again, Zach LaVine, Vooch, DeMar still slated to go. This is a game that you should be able to come away with, and hopefully the Bulls will be able to.
Yeah, I mean, they have more than enough. Like, so. And I don't want to say that like again, we can't take anybody lightly with how we've been playing this season, but they should have enough to go ahead and get a win against Detroit. But I mean, the game's got to be played before we can necessarily tell that for sure. So, we'll see when it comes to that.
And if you keep building on it, right? I mean, like, listen, you got to come in this with the mindset, not that it's the Detroit Pistons, not that, hey, we're getting some rest tonight, but you got to come into this with the mindset of, hey, we can go 5 of 6. We can, over our last 6, right? Like, we can actually be on a nice little run here of games. We can start to slowly work our way back into this, right? The Bulls right now, you're sitting at 15 and 19. You get yourself to 16 and 19. schedule is tough, but I mean, you've played a lot of those tough teams well. You got the Cavaliers, your next two. You got the Nets, you got the Sixers, you got the Jazz, you got the Celtics, right? Like, but those are a lot of teams that you've played well and matched up well with this season. So I think that there's a lot to be said about getting these games now because you don't know how that stretch is going to go. But you have to come in. You can't come into it with the mindset of, we know that we can get these next games, or we know that we'll be able to compete in these next games better because these are the ones you're supposed to get. This is how you rack up your percentages, right? Like Milwaukee, you look at their schedule, they're 22-12, and a lot of their wins are just beating up on teams that they're supposed to beat up on. But they're supposed to beat up on them, and they're doing the job.
Yeah. And looking at the injuries for the Detroit Pistons, I know we kind of already talked about it. I mean, there's not really much to say there. Like both teams are coming in a little banged up. The Bulls have the better talent, especially
tough statement after the Pistons brawl. Hey,
he
man.
punched him in the back of the head, bro.
Not even a real punch, bro. It was like I was going for the forearm, but then the forearm turned into the punch, and then like Mo was just knocked out, which I don't know if he was really knocked out, bro.
Bro, they said he lost consciousness. Bro.
I don't know. I'm not buying it, bro. Like Mo grew up playing soccer, bro. He know how to flop.
I don't know, bro. That's crazy. That's tough, bro. That's a crazy set of circumstances. Now you did mention Dalen Terry. I do want to talk about this. So while we're talking about like Bulls players sitting out, and even Dalen Terry playing a little bit more here as of late, do you think Dalen is slowly working himself to maybe earning that 4 or 5 minutes every night off the bench, or do you think that this is just a thing because of how depleted the roster has been?
I think it's because of how depleted it is. He doesn't look ready. He doesn't look remotely ready to be on an NBA floor. Like even when he was out there for the limited time he was out there the other day, right? Like he looked good playing up against that one play against Trae Young, right? And he ends up jumping out of the way. But outside of that, he doesn't look like he knows where to be in the system. He doesn't look like he knows where to be in the when they're trying to run the scheme, if there is any scheme, and he hasn't played enough with DeMar and Zach for him to kind of just have that feel of, okay, I'm gonna just come here and set the screen and different. He doesn't look like he's ready to be on the NBA court yet, which is why he's at the G League, which is why he's developing, which is why he's down there trying to run the system a little bit more. And I think you have to take into account the fact that Dalen's coming into a situation where in the G League, he is the system. He's got the ball in his hands. He's bringing the ball up. He's moving the ball around, doing a lot of that. In the NBA, go out there and find your spot. And so I think that there's a little bit of that, especially with the back and forth, trying to just get in where you fit in. But I don't know. Dalen is, I like the kid. I think that he's got that grit. He's got that grind. I do think he's going to turn himself into a nice player. But I just don't think he's ready to be there yet. And even at 4 or 5 minutes, right? Like it may be beneficial, but you got to be winning for you to get them 4 or 5 minutes.
That's a good point. That's a good point there. Yeah, I mean, Dalen does look raw. Not to make the comparisons as far as the caliber of player, but it does very much so remind me of rookie Jimmy Butler. When Jimmy Butler was a rookie, he checked in the games. I wouldn't say that it's a different. So Dalen does seem like he isn't grasping the system. It seemed like Jimmy had a grasp of the system. He was just so amped that he didn't know how to control his energy. But it's some similarities there. So, don't let that get you guys to be down. I'm not saying anyone is down on Dalen Terry, but I still maintain and hold to the fact that Dalen Terry is going to be a big part of this rotation come next season.
I need people to understand this, right? Like, and games like this are times where players get to shine when you're going up against a team that's a little bit depleted as well, right? Because you know that you're matching up with equals in that game. But I need people to understand this. Sometimes players have to develop.
Yeah.
Sometimes players have to. Now, how much time you allow that player to develop, right? I think that's something that can be talked about in different, different scenarios and stuff like that. But there are times where players just have to be developed. They have to figure out their game. They have to figure out their role. And that's okay. Everybody don't come into the league as LeBron. When they do, they usually end their career as LeBron.
That's a good point.
Luka was 16 playing against Russell Westbrook overseas. By the time he got here, he was cooking.
Cooking.
He's still cooking.
Cooking. Historic stat line for Luka Doncic a couple of nights ago. But yeah, man. Yeah.
I miss Luka. Hey, before we get into this final topic, though, man, we do want to let you guys know about Rocket Money. Here's the thing. When you're talking about Rocket Money, right, you have to think about what's going on heading into this new year. And if your new year goals are to manage your budget a little bit, relax, better, and save money, you need Rocket Money. Say goodbye to last year's outdated, disorganized methods of managing your money and say hello to Rocket Money, the better way to hack your finances in 2023. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forget about, like streaming services you bought to watch just one show or the free trial that you never even use. I'm going to be 100% with y'all. This is a personal experience on this. I legit had 2 Hulus. I had made one under one email, and, it was back in the broke times. So when it didn't renew, I just didn't make another one. And then when I got some money back in the pockets, started working at the Locked On Network. You know what I mean? Made another one. Found out I had 2 Hulu accounts. Both were being charged monthly. I was paying $30 a month in Hulu. So Rocket Money absolutely can help you out with all of those things. Here's the thing you got to do. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions. Manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA.
Pat was upset about that $30 in Hulu because it cut into his manicure budget.
Hey, bro, listen, ain't nothing wrong with a good manicure, bro.
Hey, bro,
if you're not keeping the cuticles right, what you doing?
I say that jokingly, but it's actually relaxing. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, bro, trying to get one of them seats for the crib, just for the back.
But anyway, so in the surprising turn of it, not really surprising when you look at the details of it, but the ESPN has flexed out of a scheduled nationally televised game between the Bulls and the 76ers. Right now, the Chicago Bulls are 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. The Philadelphia 76ers are the 5th seed right now in the Eastern Conference. They have flexed out of that. Originally, I thought it was for a Thunder game, but it's actually, they're flexing into a game against the Brooklyn Nets and New Orleans Pelicans, which are the second team in the Eastern Conference and the first team in the Western Conference. The Pelicans are balling right now as well, by the way. And here's what I'm going to go on record to say. The Philadelphia 76ers versus the Bulls is going to be the better game. Watch what I say, bro. Watch what I say.
I don't disagree with you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I think you have unstoppables on both sides, and that's more entertaining to watch.
I'm telling you right now, that's going to be the game where Kevin Durant finally decides to brush his hair and he's out with a scalp injury.
Hey, man, that'd be tough. You just hit pop, 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 pop.
And that's just him
I also
brushing
don't
his
like
hair.
the excuse that he uses of I don't brush my hair only at NBA games, bro. We've got you on many an event with not
bro,
brushing.
His hair wasn't brushed at his MVP ceremony, bro.
Hey, bro, hair wasn't brushed at the ESPYs, bro. Like
that's wild, bro.
Hey, man, them naps are there to stay, brother. He said I'm gonna leave them in there tight so they never fall out. But no, I think that you've got 2 unstoppable forces in Zion Williamson and Kevin Durant, and that I do think that's going to be the more entertaining game. I'm actually kind of sad now that you talk about them flexing because it means they're going to be on the same time as the Bulls, and I would rather watch that game.
They did also move up the time for the Bulls game, so it was originally scheduled to air at 6:30 Central. It's now going to air at 6 Central. Only 30-minute moved up there, but.
Well, yeah, that makes sense though. You don't have the national wait time and stuff like that trying to fit into the slot, so that works out. I mean, listen, I think the Bulls are still going to be a really good game, right? We play Philadelphia well. Here's the tough part: we gotta finally beat them. Bro. We've never beaten Joel Embiid, bro. And at this point, bro, he's a nemesis. He's a villain. I like
actively. He waved at a kid after beating us on our home court last season.
Bro, I like Joel Embiid too, but I have to, by law, hate him now because of how he reacts every time he beats the Bulls. He posted Aaron Rodgers the last time he played us.
Yeah.
And here's the tough part. He might really just be one of those matchups.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like legit, it might be one of those things where we play Philadelphia every time and we're just like, we're going to lose. Like me with the Kings. I say that every time we play the Kings. We're not going to beat the Kings in Sacramento. We never beat the Kings in Sacramento. I know going into the game we're going to lose. I don't care what the team is. We got cooked last year by Davion Mitchell. He looked like Donovan. I swear they related. Everybody keep telling me they're not. I swear they are. No, but I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like,
we don't all look alike, Pat.
Well, no, but those two do. But those two do. No, but I think at the end of the day, right? Like the Philadelphia 76ers is a tough matchup. They're probably looking at the odds. They're probably looking at the chance the Bulls are actually going to beat them and saying, listen, Embiid's never lost to these guys. We kind of know the outcome. This one might be a little more entertaining. I don't hate it. I do hate the disrespect. Now, do we just lose it? We don't get another national game? We just lose it?
That's just it. Yeah, we just lose it.
Well, you better start playing better so you can get flexed into a game at the end of the season. You bastard.
I mean, that definitely could be a possibility, especially if the Bulls keep playing up to their competition against the better teams in the NBA. You could definitely see them flex into a matchup. I guess we'll see when it comes to that. But as it stands right now, I'm not too upset over it. It is what it is. I was going to watch the game regardless, no matter where it's aired. And I look at it this way too. Now that it's not nationally televised, we get Stacey King on the call. So,
hey, bro, shout out Stacey, bro. Stacey's been fighting a one-man battle today out here. Adam, you got to jump in this fight, brother.
He's been defeating the Milwaukee Bucks fans single-handedly for the last 24 hours, and I've loved to see every bit of it.
Bro, I love it, Stacey. Adam's not. First off, Adam, you're not jumping in any of these Twitter beefs, bro. You got to jump in a little bit,
bro. Does Adam strike you as the type of person to get into a Twitter beef, bro?
Nah, but when Stacey's fighting it, yeah, I mean, when Stacey's he's out there. He's like what was it? Wasn't that Braveheart where he's just standing alone as the entire military comes at him and he's just swinging swords at him? That's how Stacey is today, man.
Yeah, Stacey been killing it, bro. Like Stacey literally is a Spartan out there today against. I mean,
it's so hilarious because the
one dude said, "I can tell you don't watch basketball" to Stacey King. I was literally like, wait a second, what?
Actually, I watch it closer than you do.
I was like. It's like, I can tell you, like, I've never seen something backfire on somebody so much because, like, you just expose yourself for now. If you don't know who Stacey King is, like, I get it. Yeah. Not everyone is going to know the announcers of the other team, but it's like, come on, fam.
You can read the bio a little bit, you know. No, the one thing that I'll say that I've found hilarious today is the fact that Stacey has, like, he's kind of just staying with the same point. Like, hey, listen, like, I don't know what y'all like. We agree that Patrick Williams pushed him.
Yeah.
What we don't agree with is that it wasn't a dirty play and that he's not a dirty player. And Bucks fans crack me up because all I saw on the internet today was, oh my gosh, I have to defend Grayson Allen now. And I'm so sick of defending Grayson Allen. But that was not a dirty play. Y'all defend this man on every single dirty play that the rest of the NBA just be like, nah, it's pretty dirty, bro.
By the way, we got live footage of Stacey King against the Milwaukee Bucks fandom. We're going to go ahead and put that
there up. There it is. That's what I was talking about. What is this?
We're going to go ahead and put this up on the screen right now.
What show is this, bro?
This is The Last Samurai. Isn't that from The Last Samurai?
The Last Samurai. That's exactly what that was. Tom Cruise was The Last Samurai. That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. That's wild.
All these samurais in the world. Just 5'5" white dude is The Last Samurai. That's what you're telling me? All the samurais that have ever. Don't worry about it. Anyway, hey, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. It was a great movie. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all for showing love as always, man. Tom Cruise, if you ever want to come on the show, man, you are The Last Samurai.
Okay. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEO Haize. And thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen today. Now, make Locked On Sports Today your second listen. Peter Bukowski brings you the biggest stories from around the sports world in 20 minutes. Get the analysis and opinions before anyone else with the local and national experts and insiders. Locked On Sports Today podcast available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. That's it for us for today. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls. We out, y'all. Peace.